We are live. What's up, guys? What's up, Sean? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Cable channel 11, Jess. That was 11:54, so I don't know whether you're in the chat at the minute. Probably not. DJ will probably jump on in a minute. So, yeah, guys. Sean, if you are the one person watching, I apologise for Tuesday night. I did actually mention it on Jay's stream. Yeah, it was meant to be streaming Tuesday night at midnight, but yeah, I had an issue with my son. I've had COVID for like a week. Partner got it, his son got it, and he started showing symptoms. I mean, he's 17, but it was still kind of like, it was a big issue because we were trying to work out whether I needed to isolate. Because obviously, I was through it and I was meant to be going back to work, and then partner got it, and then he got the symptoms, and as anybody knows with COVID, nobody really knows, nobody seems to really know what to do when it comes to isolating, certainly not in the UK or Ireland. I'm not sure how it works in the US, but so spent a couple of hours just online trying to work out whether I could leave the house or not. So it was just, any sort of the streaming went out the window, basically. There was just no way. I was just too caught up in that. I did put a tweet out. I don't think you're on Twitter, Sean, so I did put a tweet out a few hours later. But yeah, I saw you in the chat on, I think it was Jay's channel. So I just thought I'd apologise for that. But anyway, Friday night, it's Friday the 13th. Well, it's Saturday the 14th, but it's Friday the 13th, kind of, in America. So obviously, what better time to watch a Halloween film? I completely forgot that it was Friday the 13th today. It wasn't up until about maybe dinner time, and I was on Twitter, and then I seen people I thought, Steak Sauce is doing a Friday Part 4 live commentary. I thought, okay, I didn't think anything of it, and then I saw somebody else was doing a Friday the 13th live commentary, and then Piz was doing I was like, oh shit, it's Friday the 13th. But obviously it wouldn't have been, this was meant to happen on Tuesday night. I'm going to do the Friday the 13th films probably at some point, maybe in October, just do the lot of them in quick succession rather than over the course of a week, on a week-to-week basis, like the way I've been doing with the Halloween films. This is H20 tonight. It will end with Resurrection. I have no intention of doing the Rob Zombie films. I will do 2018, probably the week before Halloween Kills drops, because I want to really return to that film and, sort of get myself reacquainted with it, because I've only seen that film twice. I saw it when it came out, and then I seen it like 12 months ago. So I could really do with watching that film again and just get myself used to the characters again. But yeah, I really want to do the Friday franchise. But I think what I'd like to do as well is maybe do a live commentary to coincide with the anniversary of a certain film. I'm sure Scream, it's the 25th anniversary coming up in a month or two. So rather than just do a random Scream live commentary, I think it's good to to coincide with the 25th birthday of that film, and that's a film that I love as well. So, and it'd be good to do a commentary to coincide with the 25th anniversary of that. But having said that, then I'd like to do Scream 2 and Scream 3 and Scream 4. Obviously, it wouldn't be an anniversary thing, but I'd like to get them out the way. But it's pretty good night for. I mean, I think tonight you've got like Piz is streaming at 2 hours. He's doing it, and then Steak's doing his Friday the 13th stream at 4. This is all UK times, by the way. So yeah, Halloween Resurrection. Yeah, I'll have to do. I've just got. It's just the completionist in me, you know, wants to do it. But I mean, I don't really want to watch the film. But is my sound coming through okay, by the way, Sean? Am I sounding like pretty clear? I'm assuming so because you're replying to the questions. But yeah, but not the Rob Zombie films. DJ, what's up, man? Tired as hell. Well, yeah, same here. It is late where we are. Unfortunately, this is the what you need to do to get the American audience. You know, actually, it suits me doing a live stream at this time because everybody's gone to bed, and I'm not going to get pestered. There's not dogs not barking, people knocking at the door, so sounds fine. Oh, good. Been a long week. Yeah, it's been a long. As I say, as you probably know, this is the first stream I've done for over 2 weeks. I did have COVID that affected me. It wasn't too bad. It was like the flu, you know. So I mean, I'm 44, so not a big deal. You know, a couple of days just on the couch, just watching films, just chilling out because it wasn't too strong. And then I went away for a few days after isolation had ended. But back, yeah, just so, yeah, you leave YouTube for a couple of weeks and you feel like there wasn't much going on in the past couple of weeks. Certainly the people, you know, our community. I mean, I know Hayden was like, he wasn't really uploading. I think he had like bronchitis or laryngitis or something. Yeah, there wasn't really much going on anyway. So, but everyone seems to be back streaming again, it's like one of them trying to find a spot to fit in and get a live stream in without stepping on anyone's toes. Obviously, get this one done before Piz streams at 2 o'clock. But anyway, I'm not going to hang around. It's only an hour and 25-minute film, but I'm just going to press play on this. We'll get this thing going. I think a few people will jump in as the film's going on. I'll keep people up to date with the timestamps and stuff. So I will just, as I say, I'm just watching this film on YouTube. I've paid for it. I've rented it on YouTube. It's just a lot easier than setting up on the TV. I can put my iPad there and just, you know, switch between the screen and the iPad. If I can get the bloody film on. I'll have to set up again because it's not playing. See if more luck this time. Modern technology for you. Oh, we go. The classic Dimension Films introduction. It just takes me back to Scream. Obviously this Scream is the film which is responsible for this film even being made, in my opinion. Halloween H20 is a film that is a product of films that occurred in 96 and 97. It's not a product of any Halloween film that's gone before it. You know, it's so 90. I mean, obviously it was made in 98, so obviously it's a 90s film, but it really does feel like a 90s film. I think that is due to the fact that watching Scream, and then I know what you did last summer in 96, 97, obviously Scream 2 in 97, it really sort of hammered home that sort of feeling of like the late 90s. So I think when we got to this film in '98, it did feel. I'm not going to say it felt like a rip off of those previous two films, but I think it was just it was definitely he was looking to cash in on the success of Scream, and I know he did last summer. But why wouldn't it? I mean, Dimension Films, who obviously backing this film, they're in the business of making money, and you've got a franchise there which has been laying dormant, not for that many years, but in terms of being a hot property, you'd have to probably have to go back to the early '80s when Halloween really was making big money. And obviously when Scream came along, and I know it did last summer, it just opened the floodgates for the slash films to come back. And if you have got an existing franchise like Halloween with like an established character like Michael Myers, you'd be stupid to not try and cash in on that. So obviously, I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, it is like one of the. It's probably like my fourth or fifth favorite Halloween movies. It's obviously it's behind 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it's ahead of 5. It's certainly ahead of 6, and it's obviously ahead of Resurrection. It's certainly ahead of anything Rob Zombie did. In terms of 2018, I don't really want to compare the two films, but I don't know. Maybe with 2018, no, I think this probably just pip 2018 in terms of like, but as I say, 2018 is a new film, so I probably have to give it, maybe 3 or 4 years to watch it a couple more times and really then compare them. I think it's difficult to compare a film from 1998 to a film from 2018 when it's only 2021 now. And we see Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I think this is just after Third Rock from the Sun. I don't think he'd done anything in terms of movies at this point. I'm assuming the opening scene as well. It says I think it's Leighton, was it Haddonfield? I'm assuming that this was filmed in California as well. Considering the film is set in California, it's filmed in California. The fact that the original movie is filmed in California, I find it hard to believe that they would go to Illinois to film the opening shot. It clearly looks like California as well. The fact that they brought back the original nurse as well, I suppose, showed that they meant business when it meant that it was a harken back to the original film, and it was obviously this is a sequel to part 2 and part 1. But the fact that they brought the nurse back showed that they were serious about making it mean something. I mean, obviously they kill her off in the first act, but she hasn't really aged that much either. In 20 years, she doesn't look that much different, really. I'm assuming she must have been like sort of like mid-30s in the first film. Because obviously Laurie is by this point is 41, and she was obviously a grown woman at the time of the first film. So Donald Pleasance would have just passed on. R.I.P. I think 3 years, 2 years before this, or 3 years. 95. I think he died in 95 or 96. I can't remember. I'm not sure if it's this or Resurrection where Michael appears in the hallway and his stance is all wrong. It doesn't look like Michael in any way. And I can't remember if it's this film or the next one where a lot of people have made the point that it's so like unlike Michael the way he stands. It's almost like he stands. It's hard to describe. If I see the scene, I'll know it. I think it's this film. In fact, it might be. I think it's later on. So he stands like, and it's like definitely he stood in the hallway with it's like a long shot, and the way his legs are positioned, it's just totally unlike Michael. Runs back into the house even though she's been chased. Like, you'd just stay outside, wouldn't you? Joseph Gordon-Levitt is dead. And there comes Michael for the first time. What's up, Lauren? What's up, man? What are your thoughts on H20? I'm not sure if I'm. I think you're a fan, aren't you, Lauren? I know I'm certainly, as I say, it's probably my fourth or fifth favourite Halloween film. It does feel like I'm no expert on American geography, but the opening shots, it feels a lot like Haddonfield, which for me it always felt like I've never been to Illinois, but it looked quite cold. It looked like it could be Illinois, and obviously the original Halloween was filmed in Pasadena, like Los Angeles, so obviously clearly wasn't. But I'm assuming they just filmed the opening scene of this film around the Pasadena area because it looks very similar. But again, they do a good job of like creating this sort of cold atmosphere. And obviously, as the film progresses, it is clearly obviously set in California. But a question I've always gotten, Lorna, if you're still there, bearing in mind that 1978 on a small budget, why did they choose to film in Los Angeles when I would have thought that would be fairly expensive to film a low budget film? Would it not have been actually cheaper to film? If you're going to set a film in Illinois, would it not have been cheaper to go to Illinois or another state in that area and film Halloween? Because I would have, to my knowledge, well, would it not have been more expensive to film in like Pasadena? I mean, Pasadena is basically Los Angeles, so would that not have like really ramped up the costs of filming? Maybe it was different in the 70s, but I can imagine, nowadays it's be extremely expensive to film a film in Los Angeles. Steve Miner, of course, the legendary Steve Miner. I like the way the credits come in, sort of like, fairly late on in the film. I mean, it's been a good 10 minutes. It did inflict Michelle Williams upon us, though, unfortunately. I'm not a big fan of Michelle Williams. I don't know if this is before or after Dawson's Creek. Or is it actually Dawson's Creek started at this point, or had it? Because I know she became like a big star from Dawson's Creek, probably more than this film. And also with this film, it says introducing Josh Hartnett. Now, The Faculty, was that 99? Or was that the same year as H20? Because obviously Josh Hartnett was in The Faculty with the guy from Lord of the Rings, name escapes me. Because obviously that was very similar time to this. Now, I always thought that The Faculty was the film that made Josh Hartnett like a bigger star, but maybe it was this film. Faculty's another like very, well, it's not underrated. It's not like overrated, it's not underrated, but it's a really solid, you know, sort of body snatcher type film. And it's that late 90s, you know, the film posters they're at the time they're all identical. Get all the cast staring at the camera. But I do like the opening credits to this film. There are a few strange depictions of Michael in the sketchings, but I wasn't really been showing you. Yeah, maybe, yeah, I can see that. I can, because I know that obviously now. I mean, I love films set in New York, films made in New York, but I can imagine now filming in New York is probably costs a lot. I mean, obviously, Jason Takes Manhattan. You need to look at a film like that. You know, one scene they filmed, I think, in Times Square, and the rest of the movies filmed in Vancouver and on a boat. And obviously, if they had a bigger budget, maybe they would have spent more time actually in Manhattan. But you know, money talks, and if you're filming a seventh sequel to Friday the 13th, you're probably not going to have like a massive budget to go filming all over the New York City. That kid he's got a lot to do. Okay, it makes more sense. You've got Laurie having the nightmares, obviously. This is a different Laurie Strode, obviously, to Halloween 2018. It's funny to think, when I watched this film when I was younger, to think that I'm older than Laurie now. In this, she's like 40 in this film, and I'm 44, and it just makes me feel really old. Because I looked upon her as being quite old in this film, and she really wasn't old at all. It's funny in time, Jesus. But I've said a few times about Jason Takes Manhattan. It looks like Loch Ness, Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake looks like Loch Ness. It's enormous. It's just like an enormous body of water with mist. You just expect Nessie to come up out of the water. It's certainly not this small lake in New Jersey, that's for sure. And then we cut to Summer Glen, California, October 31st. I'm assuming Summer Glen isn't a real place. I don't know. Does anybody know where? Is this set? I mean, California's a big place. Is this set sort of? I'm assuming it's set somewhere like quite rural, maybe away from the big cities. But Jason takes Scotland. Jason wouldn't take Scotland. If Jason wouldn't last 5 minutes in Scotland. If Jason went to Glasgow, if it was Jason takes Glasgow, he would have been stabbed to death, probably injected with heroin and overdosed within 5 minutes. Yeah, he wouldn't be stupid enough to go to Scotland. I remember when I watched this film, I was trying to model my hair on Josh Hartnett, like that sort of like messy sort of gel look. It didn't work. I didn't look like Josh Hartnett for starters, so that's probably a bad start anyway. Elijah Wood, that's who I meant. He was in the faculty. He went on to Lord of the Rings. It's the amount of the thing about this movie is it's a very small body count. You know, when you think about, I mean, okay, the first Halloween film, the body count was quite low, but as it started to rise as the movies progressed, it really brings it back again with this film. I suppose more in line with the original film because you focus on a small cast of characters who you actually do care about these characters, and obviously then I think as a director, you're less likely to want to kill those characters off. I mean, even you would have thought LL Cool J would have been killed off in this film, but no. But I like LL. I mean, I prefer LL Cool J to bloody Busta Rhymes. That's for sure. Laurie's first sighting of Michael, although it's just a figment of imagination in the window. They should have just left the school open and let Michael go on a tear up and just kill dozens of people. This school is just, yeah, it's obviously a very, very posh school full of rich kids. Be no, yeah. One thing I didn't realise when I originally saw this film, I didn't realise Janet Leigh was in the film. I didn't even know Janet Leigh was at the time. I didn't know Janet. I was aware of Psycho, but I didn't know that Janet Leigh was the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. I totally forgot about the scene with the toilet, the toilet, where the mother and the kid they go to use it, and obviously Michael uses it as a getaway vehicle. I forgot. I think he uses it as a getaway vehicle. It's been a long time since I've seen this film. I think it must be about 2008, 2009. So slightly reminiscent of 2018. This scene, obviously, when you got the podcasters. I've got issues with that film. Really have. That's what Halloween 2018. The good thing about this film is it's just before. Well, it's a good few years before like mobile phones, cell phones became ubiquitous in movies. It's at a time where they were just becoming a thing, but you can at this point in '98, you can get around the fact that they're not a problem. Like you can't say, oh well, why didn't they just use the phone, the mobile phone, the cell phone? Because at this point they weren't like just the way they are now. Mini computers, they existed, but they were pretty basic, and a cell phone signal realistically could just be non-existent in certain areas. And as time goes on, as technology increases and advances, it's going to become, more of an issue for movies in horror. And I don't know how they're going to work their way around that. It's going to be an interesting one. Outside seems to the team, we just have any, is it? Definitely do. I hated Dawson's Creek when I used. I mean, I was probably too old for it anyway. I was like 21 when it came out, but I hated that show. They were just so unlike anyone I knew growing up. They all they acted like they'd swallowed the dictionary. Like the stuff they used to spout words out, and Dawson would spend you know we spent like 2 seasons talking about why he had that sex with Casey Holmes. I was like, well, just get down to it, will you? For fuck's sake. I mean, I don't know any teenagers growing up who just didn't decide to just start getting down to it as soon as possible. In this show, they just seem to spend about 4 years discussing it. When am I right to get to the talk about self-finishing? Yeah, yeah. It is a problem. I've got to say, Lord, when that live stream he did with Ramsey, when he mentioned that the library he used to go to when he was a kid, and it was the same library I used to go to as a kid, albeit, you know, it was being knocked down and rebuilt on the same plot of land. That was pretty cool. Seeing his face light up yeah, that was good. Getting some, I've got to say, Lauren, getting some great guests on your channel, mate. Of course, we got Laurie's douchebag boyfriend in this movie. I don't like it when they throw some douchebag character in like this guy. Ramsey's awesome. He is. He's a good guy, and he's getting on in age as well. He's like he's old. He's like in his late 70s, and he's still doing the business. Yeah, I don't like douche. I think that's probably a lot of horror films. You know what? One of the things I love, and it's got its problems, is It Follows. I love that film, and it's got its detractors, and I know it's got its plot. It's got issues with the plot, but the thing I love about that film is that she's a likable character, and all her friends are really like likable people. Apart from the dickhead boyfriend, who obviously he's got a reason for doing what he does. Obviously, he wants her to contract the virus, even he's a decent guy. He's just doing what he does because and then he warns her and then he tells her, and all her friends like really awesome people. They're all like really good guys. They don't like mock her. They don't like. They kind of like they're skeptical, but they kind of willing to believe. And it's just it's like an unusual sort of trait in a horror movie, because you're usually just used to getting dickhead characters. So I mean, I love that about that film. Apollo, what's up, man? Where was Mike for 20 years? How's he got a new mask and overalls? How can he see after the shot now? Every time you do a live stream with Apollo, you always like come up with like, how did he do this? And I always say it's horror logic. it's just it's horror logic. You can't overlook these. You can't go too deep into these things. It's Michael Myers. Michael Myers is Michael Myers. Michael Myers is what's the word? Omnipresent. Is that even right? That's like God, isn't it? Yeah, well, like he's like God. Yeah, he can do anything. He didn't get a good mask though, did he? Let's face it. All powerful Michael Myers. He couldn't even get a decent mask for this film, and he got about 4 different masks, I think, as well. And this is obviously where she's in town and she sees him in the reflection in the window. Where was he for 20? I mean, it is a good point. What was he doing for 20 years? No, he's got where was it? Because I've got the sound quite low, and it's been a while since I've seen this film. Laurie's obviously got a drink problem in this film, and she's got the wine there, but I can't remember because I'm watching it with the sound down. Where it was actually, is it overtly stated that she got a drink problem in this film? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure she's basically a borderline alcoholic, isn't she? Do you think Michael's way of his mortality? In other words, is he aware that he's been? I don't know. Every Halloween film is like a different Michael anyway. You've kind of got your part 1 and 2 Michael, maybe arguably part 1 and then part 2 Michael. You've got your part 4 and part 5 Michael, who kind of they just seem to be like machines. I think maybe part 1 Michael, maybe, is aware of his own mortality, but I think by part 4, I think maybe they become aware that they're just, something more. I always think that Jamie's boyfriend, man friend, he looks like some sort of like slimy sort of politician. Yeah, she's knocking back that wine. She's definitely got a drink problem. And I say, as much as I do love this film, well, I mean, I like this one a lot. Because obviously it is set in California and it's clearly filmed in California. It does lack that sort of like Halloween feel to it. It's got that sort of like autumn fall look. It misses that. It's very green. It's very, But I suppose if you're going to set a Halloween film anywhere, set it in a high school or a college, because I mean that's combining like two of my favourite genres: a slasher film, which taking a suburban slasher and then moving it to a high school or a college. I love Halloween. I love high school slashers. I love suburban slashers. So it's all good. It's sweet. Well, it's as I say, it's only 85 minutes long. When I was setting up the live stream and I was looking to see how long the film was, I was under. When I watched this, previously, I was thought it was closer to like an hour 40, and it's like it's actually one of the shortest Halloween movies there is. I was just I was because of like it was a big cinema release. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis was back. I was wondering. I was thinking it was. Oh, it must be a longer film, and it's not. It is, and it does. It doesn't waste any time. You're right, but it does take its time in really introducing Michael. That's the thing about the film. It does get you invested in the characters because Michael, apart from a few like shots of him in reflections and stuff, his first sort of real sort of impact on the movie. It's a good way into the film, and it does give you a chance to sort of develop the characters who are in. Obviously, we don't need Jamie's development as much because we obviously were already invested in her. But the Josh Hartnett character and Michelle Williams and even LL Cool J, gives us time to get invested in those characters and start to care for them, which is something a lot a lot of slasher films don't do that. It's something that Halloween 2018 certainly didn't do when they just murdered like 4 or 5 people who we didn't even know. Which version is more? It's 2018. I'd say this one, Apollo. I don't buy the 2018 Laurie at all. I'd say it's far more. I think this one is far more realistic. 20 years on, she's got a drink problem, but she's managed to, blank out everything that's gone on, and she's gone on to have a successful career. This idea of, 40 years, and bear in mind, in Halloween 2018, Halloween 2 never happened. So all the trauma of Halloween 2 never happened to her. So literally, she was attacked by a guy in a mask who killed a couple of people, killed her friends. Okay, I'm not, you know, gonna. It was a big deal, but a lot of shit went down in Halloween 2 that would have really, really fucked her up. Which maybe you could. Even that though, I'd still think she would go on. Yeah, I don't know. I just think what happened. What happened in Halloween 1 wouldn't have resulted in her going all that way to Halloween 2018. I actually think this version of Laurie is a lot more realistic. And especially as I say, in Halloween 2018, the events of 2 didn't happen, so she was literally a babysitter, got attacked by a guy in a mask, but it was just a man, and he wasn't supernatural, and he got caught the same night. So I think it was far more likely that she would have gone on to be this character than the character in Halloween 2018. But like, I've never been the victim of a masked crazed serial killer, so what do I know? We are anyone if anyone's watching on, we are 35 minutes in. It's just Michelle Williams in a school uniform. I'm just like, maybe she probably was quite young when this was made. I'm just so used to seeing, 24-year-olds playing school children. So when you see them in a school uniform, you can't like do a double take and think. You always think, is it okay to find that person attractive? Because you're thinking, well, they've got a school uniform on. You think, well, they're probably about 28. It's okay because I was only 21 when this film came out. So even if she was like 18, it's no big deal. I don't know if they're gonna. I can't remember. It's insinuated that they're still virgins. I can't remember. I find it hard to believe. Like, so much about this film I don't remember. See, at this point, the movie is 37 minutes in, and the kids haven't even left school yet. Because I always remember like there was like a mass exodus of like they were going away for the holidays, and I thought that I thought that happened within the first half an hour, and we're almost like halfway through the film, and all the kids are still there. We might have seen our first actual proper look at Michael there through the window. Very reminiscent of Halloween 1. Michelle Williams is taking on the role of Jamie. It's just not done in any way, shape, or form, and it's to the same effect as Halloween 1. There's far too much of a gap between her looking through the window and then looking back again. In Halloween 1, where Laurie looks out across the road and he's by the car, and she looks away for like a couple, 20 seconds to answer a question, looks back and he's gone, and the car's gone. With this, it's just he's looking through like a hole in the fence, whatever it is, and she looks away, but she's looking away for like a good minute, and then looks back and he's gone, and she looks surprised. I'm like, why are you looking surprised? Why would he still be there? Getting the iconic music now. You see all the school, but this is the moment where obviously all the kids are leaving. So this is the way shit's going to go down. As I say, 1998, old school phone. Poor man's killed twice by Michael. And there's Janet Leigh, of course. I say I had no idea that this was Jamie Lee Curtis's mother when I watched this film. Rest in peace. I think she died about 6-7 years ago. I'm not sure is Tony Curtis still alive? If he's still alive, he must be nearly 100 now. And she drives an old school car as well, Janet Leigh. Looks like an old like a Cadillac or something. I don't know about American cars. I suppose just based on the shower scene alone, maybe, and the fact that it was like one of the first films to do what it did. Because really, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on films anything before the '60s, especially, or anything during the '60s, really. But the fact that you show a knife, you show the stabbing motion, somebody dies. I suppose, yeah. I mean, I suppose you'd have to call it a slasher film. I mean, I wouldn't use that term slasher, maybe. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I think the term slasher. Does anybody know where the term slasher film came from? If Lorne's still watching, I'm sure you know, Lorne, because obviously I'm aware of the origins of the Final Girl saying, but in terms of slasher film, what is the origins of that saying? Is it from the 70s or is it from after Friday the 13th? I can't imagine that it existed during the time of Psycho, that's for sure. I always felt LL Cool J was going to be killed off in this film. Just to up the body count a little bit. But I suppose he was just like a likeable guy that they just didn't want to kill him off. Night of Terror is the first slasher film. Oh, I probably wouldn't be able to get hold of that film if I tried. But do you know when the actual word slasher film originated from, though? As in, when was it first used to describe this sort of genre? Because I can't imagine that it's a saying that was used before the 70s. I've always associated it with like the 70s onwards, but I could be wrong. We're using the village voice and call them stalkers as films. Not slash films. Okay. That makes sense. If only they brought LL Cool J back for Resurrection instead of Busta Rhymes. I could have almost forgiven him for, saying trick or treat motherfucker. I say that we are 46 minutes in and, no Michael of any description really. This is like the polar opposite of Halloween 2, when you think of Halloween 2 and Laurie is barely in the film for the opening, like sort of half of the film. With this is like it's turned on its head. It's very Laurie centric, and Michael's just like a bit part player who's barely in the film, and only becomes like, you know, a character of any interest in the second part of the film. Oh, it's on YouTube, and so I'll have to check that out. So we get a brief glimpse of Michael walking away in the distance there. Cool. Little brief glimpse of that. I think I was watching I Know What You Did Last Summer on the TV. I forget now how they die. Not just Hart obviously survives. His the mate, his best friend, and his girlfriend. I vaguely remember how the girl dies, I think, but I honestly can't remember how the boy dies, which is a good thing because this is probably only the fourth time I've seen this film in 23 years. It's probably got the one iconic shot of this film is probably where she stares at Michael through the window. It's probably the only. I mean, it's probably the one scene everyone remembers, but it's a solid film. But there's not really that much to really sort of. There isn't really anything else in terms of like an iconic scene. I don't think, apart from obviously the very end where she chopped the head off the paramedic, which is just a stupid idea. It's a dangerous amount of candles there. That is just like asking for a fire. It's literally like 1,000 candles just lit. How long would that have taken? It would have taken such a long time. One of them goes over. Laurie's just getting it on with the boyfriend. The idea of Laurie getting it on now in Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills is just no. I don't want to see that. Looks a bit like George Clooney, I think, this guy. This scene tracks on way too long. I'm starting to find holes in this film, and I do love this film, but it's like when you ever revisit a film after like so long, it's like, oh my god, 53 minutes, and I haven't even seen Michael yet. Not really. I forgot it was this long. I mean, it's for the last half an hour. It is all Michael, but I mean, Jesus. My phone's down. That age-old trope of horror films. As I say, this is the glorious days before like cell phones, which were a big deal. So when landlines are down, it becomes a bit of an issue. I'm not quite sure how LL Cool J survived this film. I mean, he's a black guy in a horror film in the 1990s. I'm surprised he wasn't killed off within the first about 30 minutes. mean, it does feel like this film it's a build up to a confrontation between Jamie and Michael, and everybody else is just, somebody in the way who will get bumped off. And that's all these two characters really. I mean, for a film that's like doesn't really introduce Michael for the first 50 55 minutes, and you've got these other characters in it. Josh Hartnett's two friends, they don't really get enough screen time for you to care about them, and the very few people who actually get killed in this film. So you would in Halloween 1, you get enough time with them to care about the characters. So when they are killed off, it means something. These two characters are pretty much irrelevant. You barely see them for the first 45 minutes anyway. So when they are killed off, it doesn't really mean that much. And we finally really, really see Michael now. Stood behind. So I can't even remember his name. That's how much of an impact he had in this film. I think this is the least intimidating Michael's looked in any of the films. He's certainly big, but I don't know, there's just something off about him. It doesn't really work. Oh, it sounds like I'm just criticising this film, but I mean, I do actually like the film. But I just find when you watch a film, maybe for the first time in 10, 15 years, you pick up on things maybe you didn't really notice the previous time. I suppose watching all the Halloween films in quick succession, well, not, over in terms like weekly, the first few films are fresh in your mind and the bar's set pretty high with the first couple of films. I think that's the scene where he's walking towards her there, and his walk is so unlike Michael. The music is tableaux for white cartridges utilized. I don't know the ins and outs of what went on with this film. I mean, they did use the original music briefly halfway through the film when all the students are leaving. But in terms of why, I mean, it's the classic Carpenter theme is really only used, to my knowledge, is in its purest form. It's only used in the first film, and there's been variations of it since. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm no, I'm a fan of the franchise. I'm a fan of all these, a lot of these franchises. But in terms of the ins and outs, I don't go deep into it. But I mean, the kills are quite weak in this film as well. I mean, the Josh Hartnett's friend, the boy, that kill is off camera. Killing the girl is poor. And again, I felt like sounds like I can complain about the film. I do like the film, but you know, there are issues with it. I mean, this film's not a patch on Scream. I will say that, because this is a film that feels like it's trying to take some of that Scream money that did so well, and this film is not in the same league as Scream. And I know what you did last summer above this as well. But I still like the film. Yeah, I thought you'd say that, Laurie. I know. I love Scream though. I really do love Scream. I just think Scream really did, just it gave it a shot in the arm. And I would say that without Scream, you would never have got this film, probably. Not this. You may have got another Halloween film, but I don't think you would have got this Halloween film. I think Scream had a lot to play in that. And obviously people, I mean, I like Scream 2 as well. Obviously Scream 3 is garbage, but those first two Scream films, I adore them. Yeah, it's Michael's walk in this film is just so off, and it's to the previous incarnations. There's something about the way his legs move. It's not certainly not the robotic Michael of Halloween 2, and it's certainly not Nick Castle. He just walks like a normal guy, and you can't have that for Michael Myers. Michael Myers should not be walking like a normal human being. If I've seen random smelling kills, I've not got high hopes for Scream 5 or Halloween Kills. I'm looking forward to both of them, but I mean, Halloween Kills. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Halloween Kills more because it's the iconic shot in the window, Jamie versus Michael, but she's got the gun now. Yeah, but Halloween Kills. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that I don't know. Looking at the trailer, I've got concerns. Scream 5, I just don't know what they're going to do with Scream 5. I just don't know what they're going to do. I don't know where they go with Scream 5. Like I say, it's going to be 26 years since the original film. It would have gone through four sequels, 5 movies with no reboot, no remake, it's just not many franchises can say that. Most franchises by this point have gone through some sort of transition. This is going to be a sequel to 4, which was the sequel to 3, which is a sequel to the first film. Now, I don't know how are they going to maintain an interest. You're going to have to. I've said this on numerous streams now. You're going to have to kill off one of the main 3 characters, or one of them is going to have to be the killer. I don't know what else you can do, and I've said unless you go completely full meta and have bring all the old characters back, Randy back, bring Billy back and whatnot, and it was all just a movie. And now a real Ghostface comes out to kill them as like a new nightmare. But I don't know what they're going to do. I just do not know. But yeah, I'm not kills anymore. Nope. Well, you know, when the film drops, Flood, we're gonna have to do a stream about it. You know, Piz is going to be doing his Patreon stream, and we'll probably spend about 2 hours talking about that film. But I'm actually looking forward to Halloween Ends more than Halloween Kills, to be honest with you. And then where do they go after that? Because you know there's going to be a plan in action to reboot it. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board, because obviously by this point Michael's going to be like nearly 70. So they're going to have to do something if they want to keep on making money from the Halloween name. It's Michael in his really, really strange walk as they just try to escape in the car. Yeah, we got the. I was going to say, you usually have the trope with like you can't find the keys or the car won't start, and then they didn't use that one. But then you've got the trope of like the gates which are shut. There's always like a big set of gates. I watched the film on Amazon Prime, and if we call it Turning, which is like a big spooky haunted house film. It's a bit like The Boy. And yeah, I just had that same trope of like trying to escape this big spooky house, and then there's these big metal gates in the way, and as you're trying to get through, yeah, you get killed. It's just, and this is similar. So Laurie's going for the axe now. I think this is where she screams Michael, is it? It is. I do like this scene. What's up, Darren? What's up, mate? Good to see you on board. How nice had those gates into effect. Yeah, it's at least. Oh, Sean, what's up, man? Sorry, just It was a good. Yeah, I mean, is Steve Mann? I don't even know if Steve Mann is still alive. He must be getting on in age if he is. Did he not die a few years ago? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I love Hell Night, by the way, Dan. Love Hell Night. It was funny seeing, because Linda Blair was all grown up in that film. Seeing Linda Blair in The Exorcist, and then in Hell Night, she's she's all grown up in that film. That's all I'll say. I don't mind. I like the ending of Halloween 2018. I've just got issues with some of Michael's character in that film. The fact that like he's been locked up for 40 years and he's meant to be, it's meant to be the Michael from the original film. And the Michael from the original film is, he's quite choosy about who he kills. He goes after, he picks a group and he goes after them or anyone who's connected with them. In Halloween 2018, he just arrives in Haddonfield and just goes on a rampage, and it doesn't feel like the Michael from Halloween 78. It feels more like Michael from Halloween 2, which is fair enough, but in this timeline, that Michael doesn't exist. Michael Halloween 2 doesn't exist. He never went on that rampage. He was caught and went straight back to, hospital. Steve, I don't want to talk about that for some reason. Maybe it's got something to do with the whole Sean Cunningham, Victor Miller ish court case, maybe. Maybe he's under sort of like, I don't know. Maybe he's not allowed to talk about it. Michael's just gone through the window. And so Laurie drops the knife, because why would you do that, really? I didn't mind the time change. I always preferred Michael trying to kill Laurie. Oh, I like that, Sean. I like the fact that they got rid of the brother-sister element. I just think it's, with his character, changing in terms of, in the first movie, it's almost like, he went after Laurie and her friends because they insulted him. And he kind of stalked anybody who had any sort of interaction with him. At the beginning of the film, Laurie and Tommy. And so he follows Tommy, then he follows Laurie, and then he follows the girls because they've insulted him. And then Cool J just ruins everything. Just as she's about to kill him. Even the way he's laid out on the bed, it's something with the way his legs are. It just doesn't look like Michael. It just doesn't. It did, yeah, it did. But I wouldn't ever argue with that. The Mask in 2018 does look really good. Yeah. Now we're just building up to the infamous paramedic scene where Michael has switched masks and just gone off. I mean, I'll get into it next week with Resurrection, but one of the cheapest deaths ever committed to film is Laurie's death in Resurrection. So bad. I don't know I think she was contracted. I think she probably insisted on it. But why would she want that? I don't know. She's probably paid a lot of money for it, maybe. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if she was contracted to do 2 films at this point, and maybe she insisted that at the time, like, well, I'm not going to do a full 2 films. I'll just do a cameo in the second film, and you're going to pay me X amount of money for that. Maybe, I'm not sure. So we fit. I mean, 17 parts as well. Yeah, I mean, I'd say. I mean, I think early on in the stream, I said it's probably like my 5th favorite behind 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a big car crash down the hill now. Make it a little bit more dramatic. I'm not sure when they made this film. Did they intend to kill Michael off, and then it did good box office? So they, because there's a big gap between this and Resurrection. It was 5 years. So was the intention to kill Michael off permanently with this film, or did they always intend to bring him back? Because if Resurrection had come out like a year later, 2 years later, I could see, well, it was always the plan to bring him back. But we're talking 5 year gap. So I can only assume that at this point they were planning to just, it's done, it's finished. Laurie kills Michael once and for all, chops his head off, and that's it. But I say I don't know the ins and outs. Maybe. I don't really include three. Yeah, I would just include three because it's just. I just love that film. I think they was going to bring him back. Yeah, they always intended to continue. It just seemed like a long time. Like 5 years seems like especially at that time with the whole slasher. Well, slasher films was such a hot property at that point. At that period, it just seemed like a bit of a gap. And this is the infamous scene where she chops his head off. That mask's just horrible. I don't. Yeah, I'll get to that next week. That's a film I've only ever seen once when it came out. I've never seen that. I've never revisited that film. And the film just ends. It's the thing about this film as well. She chops his head off. The film just ends. There's no reunion with the son. It's very sort of um, final, and that makes you. It gives you the impression that yeah, that's it. But obviously, it wasn't. So yeah, and that's the end of that. And Steak's going to be doing his Friday the 13th Part 4 live stream in a couple of hours. I'll be tucked up in bed for that, I'm afraid, Steak. I might catch the end of it when I get up for work in the morning. It's just you stream at a really... If you streamed at Jay's time or Hayden's time, I'd catch more of your stuff, but you always stream right at the time, really like 2-3 o'clock in the morning for me, when I'm just always asleep. So I always have to do your... I'll just watch you on catch up, mate. Sorry. Yeah, right. Well, what's that? I missed, why are company subject details? Here we are now. If Lauren's still in the chat, Lauren will school you on that. I think Lauren's mentioned it numerous times about they've discussed it numerous times on Satisfactory Region 3. DVD still outsells. I think certainly outsells 4K, and I think it outsells Blu-ray as well. I'll just say one word: boomers. People like in the 50s and 60s will just still buy DVD. I mean, and people my age as well will just buy DVDs in the droves, because people just will buy what's in front of them. So they go into, like, you know, in my country, people come to stores like Tesco, Asda. We go to Walmart in America. If they've got loads of DVDs on sale, you know, people who haven't got a clue about films, they just want them for the kids, they'll just buy a DVD, you know. So it is, I mean, yeah, physical media is going to die out in the next 20 years probably, apart from maybe I don't know what the future is. The more niche it becomes, then the more expensive it becomes, which then alienates more and more people. So where does it go? In terms of like video games will go completely digital first, I think. Music, bar vinyl, and you know, there is still a very, very niche market for cassette tapes. They're sort of going. I think with movies, it's. I think only books. I only think I can only see books surviving. I think books will always survive. There's always going to be books, but I think movies. It'll be video games first, then movies, then music, and then books will remain. But yeah, it's DVDs what's in the market, Blu is what's without is anymore, exactly. So yeah, it's 4K came along probably too late, unfortunately. If 4K came around, you know, before streaming was popular, then we would have had a lot of amazing quality movies in 4K and Blu-ray. But unfortunately, well, we've still got a lot, but you know, there's going to be a hell of a lot of movies out there which will never transition to anything in high quality, because there just won't be the market for it. Where am I up to now? Well, I certainly don't buy it. In terms of music, I just stream everything now. Movies, I stream pretty much everything. I don't buy physical media in terms of movies. I'd like to, but I just have. It's not a case that I don't want to do it. I just haven't got the space. So I have to be very choosy about what I do buy. So it's going to have to be a film I absolutely adore. And there aren't that many films I absolutely adore. And most of the films I do adore, I've got on DVD, and I can't justify upgrading to Blu-ray or 4K just because of the space. They'd only end up going in the loft anyway, when nobody's ever going to see them. So what's the point? Like I said, I watched H20 on YouTube tonight. Just rented it because it's just easier. So I mean, yeah, I want physical media to survive as much as the next person, but I'm not really helping matters because I'm not buying anything. But what can you do? I mean, not only can I not really afford to just buy multiple Blu-rays and 4Ks, I just haven't got the space. So yeah, but more power to people who are keeping it going. Keep on doing it. Hopefully it will survive as long as possible. Just watch Bob. Yeah, well, I love Ghostbusters. I'd love to see it in 4K. I mean, with some of the 4K films, they're not like a bit of an issue with this. The picture quality is so good that you can really show up some of the flaws in like certain scenes. It may not be an issue with something like Ghostbusters, but I can imagine some of the sort of like lower budget films from like the sort of like 80s and 70s and 90s especially. I mean, I dread to think how some of the early CGI films come across in 4K, because the CGI doesn't look great in DVD form. So when it comes across in Blu-ray and 4K. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up now because it's getting on for like 20 to 2 here, and I'm working in the morning. So there's plenty more streams. Pizza streaming in 20 minutes. Steaks streaming in 2 hours. If you're in America, you sorted for the rest of the night. But I'm going to have to go. Just want to say thank everyone who's in the chat. Sean, Darren, Lorne, Steak, Apollo, DJ. I think Jess popped in right at the beginning. Apollo, I think I've said to you, Apollo. But anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for being involved. Really appreciate it. Please, if you haven't liked the video, please like the video. It makes a big difference. And even if you just comment in the comment section, it just seems to really help the channel, really help the video. But that's enough for me, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll be back Tuesday night with a final one. It's Halloween Resurrection, which I'm always looking forward to hanging out with you guys, but not looking forward to the film in particular. So Tuesday night, Halloween Resurrection. It's midnight GMT, 7 p.m. Eastern, and I will see you guys later.